Hi, I'm back. Uh, let's see. What kind of experience can I share with y'all? Um, tell you about the. Okay, I'll tell you what. First time I was ever around a meth lab. Um, I got offered a gram to go get a box, and then was offered a gram to let him do it there. And I'm thinking, this is in the middle of winter. I'm homeless. I've been living off splitting quarters with my ex-wife, and we've been just trying to make it through the winter, squatting in an abandoned house. Well, 3 grams sounded like a lot of fun. So, sure, yeah, we'll go buy you boxes. Yeah, do it here. 3 grams? Hell yeah. I'm sitting over here playing Battleship at the table, patiently waiting. He's throwing everything together. And all of a sudden, he stands up and he walks over to the doorway with the bottle in his hand. And there's this glowing spark dancing around inside the bottle. So I step to the foot of the bed, and he's probably about 5 feet from me, standing in the doorway. There's a door here, a window behind me, and a window over here, and there was a closet. I was over by the closet playing Battleship. He was sitting at the corner of the bed doing it, and my wife was over on the back wall. Well, as soon as he gets up and he stands in the doorway, which is kind of enclosed, and he stands there and he holds it. What I can only describe as looked like a suicide bomber. Either he panicked, freaked, didn't know what to do, or he did it on purpose. There's some debate to this day, and I was in the room. I know what I saw, and I know what I felt. I knew that something was wrong, and I felt it in the air, and then this calm came over the room, and I felt death come on me. As soon as it touched me, I felt it ripple through my body, and then it rippled back up, and it echoed off me, and it went over, and I watched it touch him. And as soon as it landed on him, his face changed. He knew death was on him. And in those final seconds, as he stood there and we stared eye to eye, and I watched death engulf him, I heard that thing go boom. As soon as that thing blew up, it knocked the wall off the foundation just enough to bring the ceiling rushing down. It was as clear as day, as clear as I am right now. To you can't see your hand in front of your face. Soot everywhere, smoke, fire, ceiling come down. I heard the ceiling coming. I knew that my wife was standing behind me. So I braced for impact, locked my legs, hunched my shoulders, and and by the strength of God, caught the ceiling before it smashed her head. All she got was a bump on the head. It was coming down to crack her skull. She got out of the way. I let the ceiling down the rest of the way. Truss wedged in against this wall, blocked this door off. The explosion happened by that door, so that left the back window. Well, we had 5 layers of insulation on that window. Blanket, sheets, insulation, all kinds of stuff. We didn't want any light leaking out because we had the electricity turned on. So I rip everything off and I pick the table up and I throw the table through the window. And then I rip the entire frame out and threw it out in the yard. I got my wife to go out the window. I went back in, crawled under the ceiling that had just fell in, and got to, God rest his soul, Kevin, and pulled him out. Stood him up, put him against the wall so I could pick him up. He's 6'3", 240, 230 pounds easy. Just as big as his brother. Well, I get him outside. I get him to the backyard, and he's trying to get everything he's got off. He swears he's still on fire. I'm like, Kevin, you're not on fire. You're not on fire. So I have him get all his clothes off all the way down to his boxers. And he takes off down the alley. I go back into the house because everything we own, ID, phone, baby pictures, clothes, everything is in that burning room. So I went back into the house. I told my wife to sit out in the yard. When she heard sirens, to let me know. We were on my block I grew up on. I could walk it blind. So I told her to wait outside. I told her just as soon as she heard sirens to let me know. And I went back in the house. I went back in the room. And when that ceiling had hit the floor, nothing was where it was when the fire started. So I found what I could. I found the phone, the charger. I found my ID. Couldn't get to the baby pictures. Um, I can't even remember what else I grabbed, but I grabbed everything I could. By the time she heard sirens, I went out. I got out. We went up. Excuse me. Up the alley. The alley came out as a T, so as the fire trucks was pulling up out front, we were walking out the alley, and we come in back behind them. My mom lived right across the street. So as they were pulling in, we were walking in behind. And I went straight up the porch and walked straight into my mom's house and walked back to the bathroom and commenced washing the soot off my face. Well, little unbeknownst to me, I didn't know because I was such an adrenaline rush that my arm had been blown off all the way down to the bone. I got skin grafts from here all the way up, everywhere where it says YOLO, you only live once, is all pigskin from where my arm got blown off. When the explosion happened, I watched it. The fireball engulfed him. And as it came up, I watched it come at me. And I rolled with it. Kind of like you roll with a punch, you take the power out of it. Well, when I rolled with it, it just hit me right there and nicked my face. Well, I've healed of all that. That's where the worst burn was on my arm. I was in, they put me into an induced coma when I got to the hospital. And I woke up 2 weeks later to find out that he died 5 days later, alone, in a hospital bed, 3/4 of a state away from his family. For what? A few grams of dope? He died. I went to prison. She got off. She got off because I took it. I was going to take it to trial. My injuries alone proved that it wasn't me that was doing it. It was an abandoned house. I know how to dance. I've been to trial. I wasn't cooking dope. I've never cooked dope a day in my life. I only know what I know because I wanted to know how it happened, what happened. Still to this day don't know how to cook dope. I've been in the fire and I've took the bit. That's an experience that I lived through. Some of the most dangerous things you put yourself, dangerous positions you put yourself in just to get high. Could have died that night. I could have been pulling out a body instead of Kevin. I had hoped he'd make it. He had 63% third degree or worse. His whole body, almost his whole body. He had bilateral pneumonia. His heart wasn't strong enough to sustain the damage. So his heart gave out on him 5 days into the hospital. I woke up to him dead and my wife there. My mom said that they had come up and visited. I didn't remember none of it. I apparently I was blacked out through part of coming out of the coma because they were all there when I woke up. Took them a minute to get there because I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know that part because when I came out of the coma, I was in a daze. I sat up and my arm looked like Freddy Krueger. His whole body. It was, I mean, like one of the most intense pain experiences you'll ever experience is burns. You don't feel it when it happens. The pain comes after. And that's real pain. Skin graft coming off a piece at a time, getting hooked on everything, pulling at that fresh raw nerve on that sensitive, fresh, brand new skin. For what? A few grams of dope? Two 1.5s. No, I ain't gonna say that number because I use part of. Never mind. Uh, uh, I don't give a fuck. 215-143 DOC Indiana. That's all they wanted. Cop tried to pull me in the room to rat. He said, "We can make this go real easy on you if you give us something." I'm like, man, you and I both know that wasn't me cooking that dope. He's sitting here twirling his little, um, got the got the little recorder in his hand. He said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "So why are you doing this to me?" He said, "Somebody's got to pay." I said, "Somebody did. He's dead. He paid with his life." He said, "No, somebody's got to pay in the eye of the law." They sent me to prison knowing I was innocent. They didn't care. They wanted that number. They wanted that money. So when I seen them taking my wife to court, I went to court that next week and told them I'd take the minimum, give them their number, do their program. They let her out. It's a done deal. They'll get their number. And I gave them the number. And I became 215-143. And that's my shared experience for the night. Peace out.